Hello and welcome to BMJ TV. My name is Brian Johnson and this is a brand new channel. Yes, brand new. This is episode 1. So thank you for watching. This channel is designed especially for people like you. People interested in electronics who maybe don't know very much about electronics and just want to learn from day one. We assume you know nothing and we will start from scratch. We'll teach you the basics of breadboarding, circuit diagrams, soldering, components, how to use meters, test equipment, oscilloscopes, all that stuff. All those boxes with knobs on the front. So, cable. Not a particularly interesting subject, but something we use a lot in the electronics hobby field. So cable comes in all sorts of different types, from big reels of electrical mains cable, which we very rarely use in electronics, to hookup wire, speaker wire, ribbon cable, all sorts of wire. So generally this short video will be discussing the methods used to strip and prepare wire for our use. So let's first of all remove wire which we don't really want to use in electronics. The biggest size you may use is lamp flex, but that would be quite rare, I would imagine. So this is a twin core lamp flex, fairly flexible, but see, I probably wouldn't use it very much. So let's start by just clearing off that end, so we can start with a clean piece of wire to demonstrate the stripping process. So there are many different tools on the market for stripping wire, and let's see some of them. For this sort of gauge of wire, the fairly thick wire, I would use my automatic wire strippers. These are them here. It's a CK brand, very good quality but not particularly expensive. These are a very simple process. I shall demonstrate. You insert the cable into the jaws like so, and I shall zoom in to get a better view there. And as you can see, there are two parts to the tool. As you squeeze, the left jaw grips the cable and the right jaw has a small lip. It's not a blade, it's a small lip which tears off the sheath like so. Now if you take that out, you can see you're left there with a nice clean cut, but importantly none of the inner core has been cut through. So that's an excellent tool, I highly recommend it. Again, it's an automatic wire stripper. CK is a good brand. There are cheaper alternatives on the market, but with all tools you get what you pay for. It will also strip smaller gauge, such as for example electronic hookup wire. This is a fairly common cable used in the electronics hobby. Same principle, insert into the jaws, squeeze the trigger and it pulls it apart, leaving a very nice clean cut which you can then just twist together and you've got a nice trimmed cable. Smaller cables such as this one, this would be commonly used in breadboarding and other similar electronics projects. Again, let's clean the end off. You will find though with the smaller gauge cables, this big automatic stripper will do the job, but it will struggle with the smaller gauges. As you can see, it has cleaned it off. It's not too bad, but generally for this smaller size we should be using a different kind of stripping tool. Again, we'll start with a clean edge so we can see the process. Now I have two. They are both basically the same tool. I'm not sure what it's called really, but it's a general purpose wire stripper. But if you look at the actual printing on the tool, you can see it has markings which indicate the core diameter of the cable in both millimeters and AWG. So if you know the size of the cable, that's very useful. have a second pair, which again, basically the same tool. This is slightly better quality and has a different range of sizes. So the two pairs together make up all the sizes I'm likely to use. So let's demonstrate. I'm not sure of the size of this, so we can look and sort of just eyeball it and see which would probably be the right size. I'm going to go with 0.4. So squeeze that and strip, and that seems about right. So again, twist the brass threads, and we've got a nice cable ready for use. The final tool I'm going to show you is this tool here. It's an older tool. I've had it a long time, and it's a fairly basic tool, but it's actually one of my favorites. Again, you squeeze the handles, and as you can see, it creates a circular blade. It has a small dial here which you can swivel round to accommodate different thickness cores. It's quite hard to see, but there are some writing on that blade there, this little dial, which indicates the size of the core it'll trim in millimeters, I believe. So again, it has a little locking handle on the back, which helps take up less space on your rack, I suppose. But let's try some stripping with this. Let's take a fairly thick cable. This is mains electrical cable. So one of the advantages of this, you can vary the size just by not closing it completely. So if you were to do this thicker cable, you actually hear and feel that cut there. And there we go. I'll do it again so you can see. Nice, simple action, but a very nice little tool. We'll try that with a smaller size. Again, let's just trim off the end so we can start with a clean piece. So here we have, again, the same tool, but I can see just by looking at it that that hole will be a bit too big. So if we adjust the dial so that it makes a smaller hole, I think it's probably going to be that one there. So again, and there we go. Nice, simple, easily trimmed wire. So overall, as I've said, there are a wide range of tools on the market. Some of them excellent, some of them garbage. So, like all hobbies, it's trial and error. Stranded wire, which basically is made up of multiple strands of copper wire, again housed in a plastic sheath. The more strands there are in a wire, the more flexible it is. The fewer strands, the less flexible it is. So there isn't an issue with solid core wire where it doesn't need any further treatment, it doesn't need to be tinned. But if we were to try and push, even if twisted together, push a stranded wire into a hole or a socket or a terminal, you see what happens. The threads start to spread. So to overcome that, what we do is we first of all twist them together nice and tight, and then we tin them. Tinning them basically just means applying a coat of solder over the brass strands, which will stick them together. So let's try that. I'm going to use my little helping hand stand because it's difficult when filming to hold things and solder things. So I'm going to put the piece of wire in there just to hold it, and then you can zoom in a little bit so you can see it better. So to solder, to tin a wire, all we're basically doing is taking a soldering iron and some solder and making sure all the strands are as tight together as we can. We then simply tin your iron so it's got some solder on, and then apply the iron to the wire so it heats up the strands, and at the same time dab on some solder, working along the length of the wire until it turns a nice silvery colour. And once you get it basically coated, just run your iron across and push out any bumps or lumps and keep the strands together like that. So there we go. So once your wire is tinned, it will be a lot more easy to it's similar to a solid piece of wire. So that is tinning wires.